Hi everybody, Kat here. Welcome to the channel. Hope you're having a great day. It's Tuesday morning. Now, what we're going to get into, there have been some rumors going around that the king's health is not as great as they'd like you to think it is. So, that would kind of explain some of the behavior we're seeing out of King Charles right now. I think he's trying to tie up some loose ends. Look at look at this whole thing with Andrew and Royal Lodge, the fight. Now, Andrew and Sarah Ferguson have been living in Royal Lodge for what, 20 years now. He leased it from the Queen. It was a 75-year lease at the time, so there's still like 50 years left on the lease or whatever. Now, the provision was that Andrew would pay for the upkeep and upgrades to Royal Lodge over time. And that alone, the upkeep, the bills for the place alone are a few million a year. Now, we know that since the Queen stripped Andrew of all of his titles and duties and everything a few years back, he has, where's he getting his money from? We know that Sarah's always got a hustle. Sarah's always got a hustle going on. She's written books, but you know how much money is she making? We also know that King Charles is paying for the security. It's like, I don't know, 6 guys round the clock in Royal Lodge for Andrew. He's been paying for the security there. Now, don't forget, Royal Lodge, for him and Sarah, it's a 30-room house on 98 acres on the Windsor estate. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Millions of dollars in upkeep, millions of dollars in security, and the king's been kind of footing the bill, and he's had enough. We've heard this for months now, the back and forth trying to get Andrew out of Royal Lodge, and Andrew's sticking to his guns saying, well, I have a lease on the place. But everybody knows he can't afford the upgrades. Where's he going to get the money? Are his friends going to pony up? You know, he did have, through his kind of shady business works and everything, he had access to money through a lot of his connections for many years. How good those connections are today remains to be seen. Who knows? Who knows where he's getting his money from? Now, as for the security, Charles has been paying that. Well, he's informed Andrew that within the next few months, I think it might even be October or November, he is pulling that security. He's no longer going to be paying for Andrew's security on Royal Lodge, which, is in a bid to really kind of checkmate him. Now, it's been said that he's offered Andrew and perhaps Sarah, Frogmore Cottage, Meghan and Harry's old digs. It's 5 bedroom. It was completely renovated and apparently it's quite nice. So there'd be no problem there except a huge stab in the heart to his ego. He goes from basically a small palace, Royal Lodge is huge. He goes from that to a little 5 bedroom house. How the great have fallen. I don't think his ego can handle it. Frogmore Cottage. Well, there's lots of other, between Scotland, he likes golfing. Stick him on some, one of the big houses on one of the royal estates up in Scotland. I don't know. There's lots of places they could relocate Andrew to, but he doesn't want to move, right? So they're at a bit of a stalemate there, but I think things are going to heat up pretty soon, because I've also heard that one of the main reasons that the king wants Andrew out of Royal Lodge is that in the fullness of time, after his time, he wants a secure residence for Camilla, and he's thinking a Royal Lodge would be perfect for her because it's on the Windsor estate. She'd be within that security bubble. So, this is the thoughts that he wants to leave Royal Lodge to Camilla. What she needs with a 30-room house, who knows? That's ridiculous. I know she's got a couple of grandchildren, but they've already got another place, Clarence House, in London. I mean, it is their London residence. City house. She'll have a city house. I don't think that's gonna change hands. I think she'll inherit Clarence House as a city residence, and we know that she's got a country estate already that she owns. Charles bought her Ray Mill House in Wiltshire. That's her big country home. After her divorce from Andrew Parker Bowles, Charles put up the money for the mortgage for the house. He's paid it off. And that's only, I think, 10 miles from Highgrove, Charles's country estate there. So she's already got a country house. She'll inherit Clarence House in the city. Why she needs Royal Lodge, I think it's really just Charles, because he can. Well, give my queen the biggest house I possibly can do. That's their attitude. So I can see that. So where does this leave Andrew? Well, he's going to have to relent at some point. Like I said, they have, Wales, Scotland, all over England, there are lots of residences that Andrew could pick. And I'm sure the king would say, all right, I'll even pay for the moving van. You know, um, but Andrew, because of his entitlement, I don't think is able to let go. You know, I don't think he's able to let go, but it's gonna happen, and I really think that's what that's what's happening, is that Charles wants Royal Lodge for Camilla, because we know already that William and Kate have already said, we've heard through sources, that William and Kate don't want Royal Lodge. Presently, they're raising their kids in 5-bedroom Adelaide Cottage, which is about a mile or two from Windsor Castle, right there on the estate. In the fullness of time, when William accedes to the throne, he's got the house on Scilly Island, he's got Kensington Palace, they've got Amner Hall, they've got Adelaide Cottage, and once he's king, pick a palace. They'll probably move into Windsor Castle. So there's no end to homes that will be made available to William. So they don't need Royal Lodge. It's already been said that there's a lot of work that needs to be done in renovation and all of this kind of stuff anyway, that they probably don't want to do. I don't know. They don't want Royal Lodge. But they're certainly not at a loss for a place to live, especially once he accedes to the throne. I mean, they could pick their place today if they want. So, the king is really working hard to try to tie up these loose ends. We're hearing more and more of it in the news, on social media, that Charles is stepping up his efforts to try to control Andrew and try to sort this situation out. Rumor has it that, yeah, he's pulling the security that Andrew enjoys. Charles has been paying that from the time when when the Queen stripped Andrew of all his respectability. His security level was also stripped, the same kind of situation issue that we have with Harry. But yeah, so that was stripped. So since that point, even before he was king, Charles has been paying for Andrew's security at Royal Lodge. Now, there you go. That brings us to Harry and Meghan. Well, we know recently that the king has been in communication with spiritual leaders, trying to come to some resolution, I suppose, or some detente even with Harry and Meghan. Maybe learning to forgive, whatever, Charles, if things are, even if, whatever. Whether it's worse than we're being told or not, Charles is still of an age. He is suffering and being treated for cancer. You would want to tie up loose ends with your children. However bad things are, and we know that Charles is a bit of a softy. He's not made of strong metal, He's a softy. So anyway, we know this, that, lots of sources say close to him that he would love to have Harry and, yeah, maybe even Meghan back in the fold. Certainly, if not official duties, back in the family circle, right? But most of the royal family, William, Anne, the rest of them, I mean, they pretty much know that Harry and Meghan cannot be trusted. Whether they know the depth to the kind of things that Harry and Meghan are engaged in, and I mean, I don't think there's a way they couldn't know, because we know that William has been engaged with MI5 and MI6, and he's getting security reports and all of this kind of thing. And I'm sure that the security, I'm sure they know what Harry and Meghan are up to. There are some entities that are funding and supporting Harry and Meghan, and I bet you there's others that are watching him. So I'm sure that William knows exactly what's going on, which is one of the reasons why he's adamant about not allowing them back. Now, if I'm right, and a couple of my playlists, Life Imitating Art, King Charles III, and my Time Loop series are all coming together, and this is why I find it very interesting. Go watch those playlists and you'll understand what I mean. I think we're coming to a point. We're coming to a point where we are going to see the confrontation between the king and his people and the king and his heir. Charles is going to want to bring Harry and Meghan back, and just a poll just the other day said, I think 32% of the people would like to see Harry and Meghan back in the royal family. Well, that means over 60% of people do not want them anywhere near the throne. So, public opinion is not with King Charles. Public opinion does not want to have them anywhere near the throne, as, William and the rest of the royal family. They will advise the king not to do that. And if I'm right, there may come a point. And the cancer just happened to coincide with what's going on. We, in the fullness of time, I think what we're going to see is a confrontation between William and Charles. In the meantime, is the family going to try to talk, and what kind of a compromise can we make? Are we going to see such a compromise that would grace Harry and Meghan with some kind of appointment to just kind of sideways shuffle them, such as we saw when the king appointed the Duke of Windsor, Edward and Wallace. The Duke of Windsor was appointed governor of the Bahamas all those years ago. Now, if they were to kind of compromise by the king inviting them back in, but giving them appointment kind of out of the way so they couldn't interfere with royal doings in London, that would be a huge, huge hit on the time loop. It would be a huge hit on Does Life Imitate Art? I might be onto something here, and I think we're in the season. We're in the season for these things to happen. So I think we're in a very dynamic time behind the scenes, and I think it's just a matter of months till we really see a shake-up. So lots to look forward to. Take care, everybody. Like, subscribe, leave me a comment. I want to know what you have to say. We'll see you in the next one. Take care, everybody. Bye for now.